Hello, Fit Pro podcast listeners. Today I have the great luxury of interviewing Mr. Jason Maxwell. Jason is a rocket scientist turned muscle expert that's going to help us dive into where he is in his, how he got to where he is and how he can help personal trainers and fitness business owners take their business to the next level. Welcome to the show, Jason.
Yo, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, I'm excited to really interview you and kind of learn about your story and, how you got to where you are from rocket scientist to now getting ready to publish a book and helping guys, develop muscle and how personal trainers can learn from your story.
Yeah, man. I'm happy to spill the beans right here on the Fit Pro business.
Awesome. So tell me how you got from rocket scientist to now, getting ready to publish a book and helping guys, develop muscle and learn about their nutrition.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy actually, because I grew up in a super, super small town in Canada, 3,500 people. You were telling me that you live in like the armpit of California.
Exactly.
I grew up in the armpit of Ontario, Canada. All farmlands, like I all through high school, I dated like a farm girl and everything. So you know what that's like. And I needed to get out of that town. I had really good grades and I had no idea what to do with them. I was, getting straight A's in high school. And I was like, I got to get out of this small town and I got to get to the city. So the only way to do that is to go to university. And I didn't know what to take. So I did like this quiz online. And it was like, top 10 things you should be. And number one was aerospace engineer. So I looked up, okay, what schools have aerospace engineer? And there was like 2 of them in Ontario. So I went to the one in Toronto as opposed to the one in Ottawa. And I was good at aerospace engineering, but I wasn't in love with it. And I started lifting like near the end of high school, and I just wanted to completely change my physique because my physique was absolutely brutal. I was just a skinny fat kid, had no confidence. It was tough for me to get the girl. Like I did date a girl for 2 years, but I just kind of took it because it was what I could get kind of thing.
Right.
It wasn't like what I was chasing. And hopefully she's not listening to this, but so I completely changed my body as soon as I went to first year university, and I fell in love with fitness. I fell in love with building muscle. I fell in love with getting stronger. I fell in love with just the transformation, the feeling of completely changing who I am physically. And I became obsessed with it. I started my blog online, JMax Fitness, and I started writing about fitness, not because I wanted to make money, but because I wanted to talk about fitness, and I had no friends to talk to about this amazing journey that I was going on. So long story short, I read an article on Tim Ferriss's blog. He wrote the 4-Hour Work Week, and on his blog, he interviewed this guy named Mike Geary, who was an engineer who figured out how to sell fitness products online. And that year he was going to make $10 million. So he was on pace for $11 million. Right. And I thought to myself, like, I was the top 3 in my class in engineering. So I know that it sounds conceited, but I know that I'm smart enough to figure this online business thing out. So I was like, if this engineer can figure it out, then this engineer can figure it out too. And that's what I did. I figured out how to release a fitness product online. Throughout university, to pay for university, I was personal training. I finished school. I got my degree, graduated top 3 in my class, and then I got a job at the top gym in all of Toronto, like the top paying gym, within a year. And then I got there and I'm like, oh, shit, I'm at the top. What's next?
Right.
And I knew I always wanted to travel. I wanted to live that 4-hour work week and just try it out. So I worked really hard on my online business. Anytime I was not training clients, I was in the break room just like working on my products so that I could eventually sell, which I knew would take me to that next level. So like it was even hard to make friends at the personal training gym and make friends with the other trainers because, I was always working. They're like, why is this guy always working? It's like, what's going on with this guy? So 8 months into that job, I quit and I moved abroad and I lived in this country called Malta in the middle of the Mediterranean. I lived there for 3 years and traveled all over Europe and in that area of the world, just working full-time online. And I think that was 2014 It was like April 2014, I quit my job, and I haven't had a job since. It's only been 100% online.
Yeah.
And it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's amazing because I get to wake up every single day and do something that I love.
Right. I think a lot of personal trainers actually, just like your story, get into personal training and, helping other people because they're passionate about fitness. And then they get into the grind of working every day. And for a lot of personal trainers who haven't set up their business as a lifestyle like you did, they maybe opened up a studio and they're working 10 or 12 hours a day. And sometimes that joy or that feeling they had when they first started their business is kind of worn off once they're really in the thick of it. What advice I would say that from the example you gave, you worked just as hard when you were training clients on what you're building your online business. And a lot of personal trainers want to start that online business, but don't, necessarily realize the time that it takes to actually let that grow.
Mm-hmm. So I was doing about 30 sessions a week plus some sales sessions. And then anytime I had a cancellation, anytime I had some downtime, I would work on my online business. And it was a grind because I started my first client I would see at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And my last client would be the 6 p.m. spot. So I would finish work at 7 p.m. and then I would go home, make my meals for the next day, and then go to bed at like 8 and then just keep doing it again. So anytime I had downtime, I would work on my business, but I wouldn't sacrifice my workouts. I still wanted to keep my mind fresh, and I knew I could do that if I went and worked out. And I needed to maintain my body because I was going to sell stuff online. So I needed to show that I walked the walk and didn't just talk the talk. But one of the biggest things is a lot of trainers, when they're starting their online business, they don't know what to do. So I would say hire a coach that knows the way and can show you the way. And when you do that, it makes everything so much easier. I was dumb and I didn't do that, but I still followed the right people and I read the right books and I read the right blog posts, and then I kind of analyzed what other people were doing.
Yeah.
But I realize now, like, I could have like $100 million business today if I hired a coach back then.
Right.
And I just hired my first coach in like August. So I was dumb for waiting this long, but I'm glad I did it eventually. That's one thing too, because then the coach can tell you what to work on. So you're not wasting your time, wasting your valuable time, which you don't have.
Exactly. And ultimately hiring that coach that's been there and done that, somebody that has proven the results, is going to shorten your learning curve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's kind of not even a learning curve. They just tell you what to do. And
right.
You do it makes you money, which is glorious. And then the next thing too, is you need to have like a ready, fire, aim approach, which just means take massive action right away. If your coach tells you to do something, do it right away. Make it a priority. And don't spread yourself thin. Like, don't worry about your friggin' logo. Don't worry about your website. Worry about getting your product out as soon as possible and networking with other people who can promote that product, and make sure you know how to sell your product. If you're starting out online, you don't want to waste your time on like the graphics and all this stuff. No, you need to be making sales, because every day that you're not making sales is another day that you're not making money. And the whole point of having a business is to have income coming in. If you don't have income coming in, then you don't have a business.
Right. It's the same for brick and mortar. If you take all this time, not driving traffic into your business and you're not making money, then you're not going to actually have a brick and mortar business either, for very long, at least.
Yeah. It's funny. I was watching Parks and Rec last night, and there was this episode with
I love that show.
Yeah. It's great. This episode with Aziz Ansari, he started up like this marketing business with his friend. And it's like they have this dope spot. They hired a pro basketball player. They hired this hot receptionist, like this huge venue. And then someone approaches them and they're like, yo, so do you have any clients? And they're like, no, we have the lifestyle. And that's like completely wrong. And it's so funny because they're just making fun of almost every single failed business, because most failed businesses fail because they don't have clients, they don't have customers, because they're not focused on selling.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be able to drive traffic and you have to be able to close sales, in order to stay in business and continue to grow and to continue to scale through your systems.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
I think too, like you're talking about hiring a coach, and a lot of personal trainers that start businesses kind of feel like maybe they don't have that network to pull from. And so like feel like they're going at it alone, when in actuality, there's a lot of connections out there that you can make and people you can reach out to that are going to hold you accountable, like a coach or some sort of finding some sort of mentor. What importance has that played in your gotten to you to where you're at now?
Oh yeah. So huge importance. So I didn't realize this. I always thought I was like kind of like a loner or introverted kind of guy. And I guess I am at heart, but a lot of my friends told me I'm really good at bringing people together and networking. And the best way to do that is to go to events and then just start talking to people, pretending like you already know them. So it's almost like you're an actor on stage and you pretend you already know this person, and it's instantly friendly. And then you can kind of vibe with them back and forth. And then you like introduce each other. You know, you can introduce other people, and then all of a sudden everyone who came alone is like this big group. And yeah, so that's one of the best things you can do is go to live events. And then if you hire a mentor and you have like, let's say a mastermind or something where you meet up like every 90 days, and the head of the mastermind is your coach, but they also bring together this amazing group of people. You end up becoming best friends with all these people. And then you just want to help each other out. Yeah. It's amazing because you're not doing business with other colleagues. You're doing business with your best friends. Yeah. And it's hard to say no to a best friend, but it's easy to say no to someone who just cold emails you. And you're like, who the heck is this person? So like the friendship brings the value into that interaction there. And a funny story to tell you, actually. So start of January, I broke up with my girlfriend who I'd been dating for 8 years. So wow. It's almost like a divorce, even though we weren't
definitely married.
And I would not have been able to recover that quickly as I did if it weren't for some of the guys that were in the mastermind that I'm in, because those guys helped me through it. So not only were they business partners, but they really became best friends because of that. And I'm just such a better person for doing that. I'm so blessed to have these guys in my life that I met just by, getting out of the house, putting skin in the game, paying money.
Exactly.
And then meeting these guys face to face and, having drinks with them, having food with them, all that kind of stuff.
I think too, you also have that accountability network, people that are going to hold you accountable for what it is that you specify your goals are. And for a lot of business owners that go start their business, they don't have that in place. And it's, super important to have somebody there that knows what you're capable of and knows what your goals are and keeps your feet to the fire.
Yeah, well, that's kind of it. But I think a lot of guys, when they first start out, is they just don't know what to do. So they waste their time on a bunch of stuff that just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That they think matters. Like, they're like, okay, I need to be on Instagram. I need to be on Facebook. I need to be on YouTube. I need to be doing all this kind of stuff. But it's a lot better to just go deep into one thing and go all in. And then the accountability, I find, like if you're paying your coach, putting skin in the game and actually paying, I think is one of the best things that works for me, because
absolutely.
I want to get my money's worth.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to be the guy who would go to the buffet and just eat all the food because I wanted to get my money's worth. And now I'm doing that with the mastermind. I'm paying my coach, and, I got to get my money's worth. So I got to do everything they say and then some. So there's kind of that accountability too. And, every 90 days when we meet up in person, I don't want to be the chump who didn't do anything the past 90
right.
days. Right. So it's embarrassing. So you have that as accountability too. And one more thing on the lines of accountability is, accountability is cool and everything, but you need to have someone who you deeply respect and you don't want to disappoint. Right, and that's the type of person you need to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Because if you're talking to them like once a week and you're like, oh shit, I didn't do what I said last week, you don't want to disappoint them. So you got to find someone like that in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. Now, so obviously you've had success online. It took you a while to build your business online. You found your passion. What are some of the things that kind of maybe were pitfalls or things that kind of roadblocked you initially that you've overcome? And what advice can you give personal trainers that maybe kind of feel like they're stuck or are having analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis, however which way that goes? what advice can you give them as far as what pitfalls did you have, and then how did you overcome them?
My biggest problem was growing up in that small town.
Yeah.
I was raised with like low class, middle class, lower class mindset. So I thought if I could just make 6 figures online, if I could just make $100,000 a year, I would be set. But that setting the bar too low.
Yeah.
You got to set it really, really high, because if you can make 6 figures online with your online business, you can make 7 figures with the same amount of work. It's no different, and it's the same process. And now that I'm thinking that, I'm like, okay, well, if I can make 7 figures, I can make 8 figures online. So you got to think big, think very, very big, because the world is abundant. There's a lot of people out there who are going to buy your shit. You don't need to get flooded with you don't need to worry about not enough people buying your stuff just because someone else has a program out there. You have something unique that you can offer. And if you can solve someone's problem, man, they'll pay you for it. And there's a ton of people who will pay you for it. So the biggest thing that completely changed me in the past like year was just getting out of my small ass mindset and thinking big, thinking very, very big, and not just thinking big, but believing I can achieve it, and then setting on the path to doing it.
Yeah, definitely. That's huge as far as mindset. I think a lot of, business owners too set that bar too low for themselves, or they don't even really realize what they're capable of accomplishing as far as they're generating revenue. And that's huge once you get to that challenge, that mindset, and set that bar higher for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one of the easiest ways to set that bar higher is just to start hanging out with other guys who are doing way bigger things than you.
Right.
So like I'll go out for dinner sometimes with a couple of my buddies here in Toronto who have like big online fitness businesses. And one guy is spending like $600,000 a month on ads.
Yeah.
And he's bringing that in. Another guy, he's clearing online with his online fitness business, $150,000 a week net into profit into his business, which is insane. But I'm like, okay, well, these guys can do it. Like, I'm smarter than these guys, so I don't want to disappoint them. I got to step up my game so I can be on the same level as these guys. And it makes everything so much easier, and you just become way more successful almost overnight, which is kind of funny to say, as long as you take action.
Yeah, I've been listening to Peter Voot. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he says if you want to be a millionaire, hang out with billionaires.
Yeah. And if you want to be a billionaire, you got to hang out with multi-billionaires.
Exactly. So what are some practical steps that fitness business owners can take that are wanting to launch an online business or online coaching business?
Okay, so you have to have 2 things essentially. You have to have traffic coming in, and then you have something that you can sell. And if you can just focus on one lead product that can sell a lot of, then that can get you pretty much to your first million as long as it converts. So I'm going to talk specifically. I'm not going to talk about coaching because I don't really do a lot of coaching. So I'll talk about an actual product online, like a digital product, maybe even a physical product. So first things first is you got to think of like a good hook, something exciting that people would want to buy. So the best way to do that is think of a problem that people have, and you can start it out on the largest level. Let's say it's weight loss. And okay, so what's the benefit of losing weight? Why do these people want to lose weight? Because you got to niche it down. You can't just sell a 12-week weight loss program anymore, because it's no different than what everyone else is selling.
Right.
The market knows, okay, there's a lot of weight loss ones. Why do I want to do this one? So you can just keep narrowing it down, saying why, asking yourself why. So I had this one client I was working with, and I was like, okay, so your program gets people shredded. Why do they want to get shredded? Like, your ideal guy, who's your ideal person? He's like, men, maybe like 22 to 30. I'm like, okay, great. Why would this person want to get shredded? And eventually kept saying why. And his answer for his hidden benefit from this product is, this guy, people want to get shredded so that they can date hotter girls. that's who he's going to go after. So now he's making that product specifically with that benefit in mind.
Right.
And then we're tying it together with the sales copy. So we're making this product so unique, because how many other products out there are specifically designed to get you to date hotter women just by shredding getting shredded.
Right.
So that's the kind of specifics you need to think. So we got that. And then when we have something like this, we know it will sell, because it's a really cool, fun idea, and people like that, and people need that, and people need to connect emotionally. Like, think about this. If you're a guy who's overweight and you're not really dating very good looking women, in your opinion, you want to date better looking women, like, this is a real thing that really bothers some guys. Yeah. So if you're a guy who has that problem, you're going to want to buy this program. Right. It's made for you. This is your program. So you got to think like that. And then secondly is you got to get some traffic there. The quickest way, I think, well, I don't think I know. The quickest way to getting from 0 to 6 figures with your product is to make sure it sells well, and then reaching out to affiliates. So you got to go to live events. You got to shake these people's hands. You got to eat with them. You got to drink with them and become friends with them first, and then they'll promote you. And then you have numbers and you get an idea, okay, this sells well, and then you keep testing different things and you get it converting well, and you making sure that it's making the affiliate money. Give away 100% commission to them because they're sending you customers.
Right.
And then you can sell to those customers again, and that's the goal. And just keep doing that. Keep meeting people, keep networking until that your product is doing $8,333 per month, because that's 6 figures. Right. 6 figures a year. And then from there, you can start working on, like, after you played all the affiliates, you can start working on paid traffic, maybe advertising, and then organic. So go all in on something like Instagram or YouTube. Those are probably one of the big ones right now, and just go all in, grow that. And then you can get that traffic to the page, and then you can start making more sales, and you can scale that from 6 figures a year to $1 million a year.
Right. But you've already done all the prior testing, and you know that product's selling already prior to shelling out money in regards to advertising.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it won't convert, and maybe just you haven't figured out a really cool idea yet. And okay, it's just back to the drawing board. But you can sell, like, if the product is good, the product is good. You just got to try to think of different ways to sell it until you find a great way to sell it.
Right. What do you think is the biggest holdup as far as, a lot of personal trainers think, like, I can develop a product like that. I've got an idea. What do you think the holdup is from idea to actually implementation and seeing it through, as far as building a website and a sales funnel and all that good stuff?
Well, a lot of times okay, so I've talked to a lot of people about this. There's this guy that I was working with. He created his product and had his sales page ready like 4 or 5 months ago. And I'm like, dude, this is ready to sell. Why are you not selling it? And he's like, well, I just don't feel like I'm an expert yet. I'm like, dude, think about this. You're Spider-Man. With great power becomes great responsibility. Right. There is someone crying themselves to sleep every single night because you have an answer to their problem and you haven't sold it to them yet. So you're doing every one of your customers a disservice for not selling them this amazing product. So that's one thing. They're afraid to reach out. They're afraid to do this. Another thing too is you kind of need to know what you're doing. This is why it's a lot better to have a coach to show you the way. But if not, like, you need to be studying like how to write sales pages, copywriting. You need to be buying courses to show you how to do this. Then you need to focus on one thing and one thing only, and that is to make enough sales every single day. So like, what is it? Let's say your product's $27. What is that? 10 sales a day is like 6 figures. Maybe I'm wrong, but let's say it is just 10 sales a day. So you just got to hustle to get 10 sales a day. So you got to be like on these affiliates. You got to be meeting up with them. Like, you got to be taking massive action, and you got to take action yesterday. You can't take action today. It's got to be taking it yesterday, getting ahead.
I think ultimately too, like a lot of, like that example that you gave might come back to just a fear of failure. They don't want to put their product out there, put themselves out there in fear of that it might not fly.
Yeah, well, your first product probably will fail, but you got to fail forward instead of fail backwards. So you're failing forward, you're learning, okay, this didn't work, let's try something else. Because listen, building an online business is hard. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So you need to stop being so emotionally attached to the obstacle that's right in front of you from preventing you to your outcome. And you need to be more emotionally attached to that outcome, to your goal. So as soon as you start thinking, okay, I'm more emotionally attached to what I want to accomplish instead of the obstacle that's right in front of you, then you can start figuring out ways to fail forward, right, and eventually start getting that momentum and start making sales. It takes a while, but eventually you will figure it out if you persist.
Exactly. And I also thought, what you said is so powerful in regards to if you're not putting your message out there, putting your product out there, then you're doing somebody that could be hurting for your service a disservice by not getting it out there.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of like self-esteem things that we could go down here, but like you just got to be confident in what you have, and you got to start selling it when the product is okay, because you can always go back and make that product better if you don't feel like it's like perfect. That's okay. You're never going to feel like it's perfect. You got to think in your head, good enough is good enough. Right. So if it's good enough, friggin' get that out, start selling it, or else you're not going to make any money.
Absolutely. Sells, and more sales.
Yeah, exactly.
So now I'd like to transition to kind of what you're up to right now, and talk to us about your book and how you got that launched, and how personal trainers could possibly use your book to help them with their audience.
Yeah, sure. So this is a new thing for me. I knew I always wanted to do a book. I wanted to write a book, but I didn't know how to sell it to make money. So what I did was I ended up doing a free plus shipping funnel. So anyone watching, like, here's my book right here. It's physical. It's real. It's really cool to just open it up and hear those pages. Like, it's cool. But it took me 2 years to write it. I should have taken my advice to actually good enough is good enough. But it took me 2 years to write it because I didn't know how to sell it, how I was going to sell it. And I figured out, okay, I'm going to release it for free, give it away for free. People just pay shipping. And then that'll be my way of acquiring customers.
Yeah.
Because their number one goal with your business is to keep acquiring customers, because it's a lot easier to sell to someone who's already bought to you as opposed to selling to someone new. So you always have to have front end. Think about front end. Think about getting more customers in. So that's what I'm doing right now. My main focus is just to sell this book, sell as many copies of this book as possible. And the way I'm doing that is by giving it away for free. People just cover the shipping and they grab that book. This book is called Muscle, and it's my approach to building muscle. And the way I framed it is, this is the way that you're going to be able to build the body that you're happy with without sacrificing your lifestyle. So you can still dominate your life. You can still eat like a king. You can still go out on hot dates. You can go out with your friends. You can go out, get drunk if you want. It's the lifestyle here. So I'm not selling the muscle, but what I'm saying is, when you have the muscle, you have the lifestyle. Everything in your life becomes easier. Right. I walk down the street now, and let's say I go into, here's a perfect example. I took this girl out on a date. We went and we got ice cream. This is like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I go and I'm like, can I get 2 flavors in a small? Because I only wanted a small ice cream because they're pretty big. And they're like, no, we don't usually give away 2 flavors. It's only 1. And I was like, really? Only 1? And I just kind of like looked at her, and she was like, well, I guess I could give you 2. And it's because I have muscle. When you have muscle, you have that confidence, and people just treat you differently. It's an amazing feeling. And that's why I wrote this book, because people need to have muscle. You get what you want in life. It's pretty cool.
Right. I think that's true too, because ultimately it's a confidence thing. And we see that transition with our clients that maybe come in that aren't too confident, but then once they start getting in shape, you can see their personality actually change, their confidence increase. And that's exactly what you're saying in regards to this book.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So I broke it down into different approaches, basically based on if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. And it's just the simplest ways that I've found to build muscle. And it's just really just focusing on, key things like getting stronger in the big compound lifts, progressive overload, flexible dieting, getting enough protein, and then getting enough calories. And it's just, very simple. If you can do those key things, as many people listening to this know, it's very easy to build the body that you want without sacrificing your lifestyle.
Absolutely. Now, how can the audience get this book or learn more about it?
Oh, yeah, sure. If you're listening to this, you can get the book for free by going to freemusclebook.com. That's the easiest way to get it. You just cover shipping, and I'll ship it to you anywhere in the world. So if you're in India, if you're in Canada, if you're in the United States, if you are in Gibraltar, if you are in Ukraine, I will ship this book to you.
Now, and do you have any last golden nuggets or any key advice you can give fitness business owners that are just, again, looking to grow their business, looking to learn more, looking to level up?
Yeah, if you're looking to level up, get good at skills. The skills that you need, specifically if you want to go online, the skills that you need are copywriting, which is selling via the written word.
Right.
Sales, so sales over the phone. Those two things are going to get you more customers. So that's what you really need to focus on. The third skill, which I would say is the third most important skill, is just being able to do public speaking, because eventually you will be on camera and you will be talking to these people. So it's important that you can still sell face to face kind of, or on camera. So everything you need to think about is, how can I sell more and how can I get more customers? And those three skills are really going to help you get there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I know for myself personally, the one I'm learning the most about right now is the copy. And that's probably the one that's the most challenging for me. But I think that that's a skill that comes as you keep applying yourself and learning.
Yeah, it's like a muscle that you work in the gym. You have your copy muscle. You got to get your repetitions in. You got to get your sets in. And, remember the first time you ever bench press, you probably used the bar and it was probably like kind of heavy. Yeah. But now you can bench press way more just because you worked that muscle. You got your reps in, and now you're not like this weakling. So same with copywriting. Everyone's got to start somewhere, and all of the best copywriters started out as the shittiest copywriter.
Right. I think too, that from copy, from my perspective, what I'm learning now is it's got to be conversational. You got to be actually talking to the person that you're trying to purchase your product in a conversational format, that resonates with them.
Yeah. That's huge. You gotta just talk to them like they're an old buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to one person specifically. So remember when I was talking about that unique idea, and with that one client, we figured out he's going to be talking to guys that are like 22 to 30 who want to get shredded so that they can date hotter girls.
Right.
So you got to think, okay, who do I know that's like overweight that wants to lose weight so they can, date hotter girls? And then you got to go talk to that person, interview them, and then every single one of your marketing pieces, you are actually writing to that one person, and then anyone else who has that same problem, like even you're going to use the same lingo, same slang you would use with that guy. Anyone who has that problem is going to resonate with it. And then they got to buy because this speaks to me.
Right. He's talking to me, and this is a product that's going to solve all my problems.
Exactly.
Now, how can the audience connect with you and learn more about you?
Yeah, just go follow me on Instagram. I'm JMax Fitness on Instagram, JMAX Fitness. That's the best way. You can hit me up in the DM, be like, yo, I heard you on the podcast. And then make sure to go grab my book for free at freemusclebook.com.
Awesome. And I'll definitely include all of those links in the show notes. Jason, you killed it. You gave the audience tons of value in regards to how they can build their brand and build their online business. I want to thank you for your time. And you have any parting words? Yeah,
go sell. Get more customers. Sell.
I love it. Jason, I want to thank you again for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. This was fun.
Appreciate you.